Hi, I'm Sherry, and this is my follow-up video on spelling power. These are my thoughts. I am not being paid by these spelling power peeps to give you my opinion. This is just something that I have purchased after much searching for a program that will work for my son. I need to preface this by saying just because it works for us does not mean it will work for you. Please keep that in mind for any type of curriculum that you're looking at. But for us, this was finally working. Is it perfect? No. But I have definitely seen an increase in his ability to retain the words and remember how to spell them, which of course is the goal. Now, one of the biggest things I have heard about spelling power is getting started is absolutely confusing, and I would have to say I totally agree. I do know that I have the 3rd edition. The 4th edition, apparently, she's kind of cleaned things up. She's got more visuals, and she has reorganized some of the word families to make a little bit more sense, which is great because sometimes when I'm working through here, I'm like, why are these words together? But it doesn't matter. This edition works just fine. It's still effective for my son, and I really like it. Now, another thing you may need when you're doing the spelling program is the student record book. You do not need to purchase it. You could just use a spiral bound or just a notebook with some loose leaf paper put in. The thing is, at least with my child, is that he does better when things are already kind of laid out there for him. If you have a kid that doesn't have a problem with that, then that's all right. But you see here on the 10-step study, they have these little boxes and they have all this already laid out, and I really like this. You also have blackline masters, or at least in the 3rd edition you do, that you can print. The thing is, by the time you're done using paper and ink, you would spend more than you would to get a couple of these, or under $5 a piece. I usually pick them up from Rainbow Resource. And no, I'm not an affiliate, but I should be because I send a lot of people there. And I've spent a lot of money there, but I'm sure most of you can relate. All right, that said, so you will need a some type of record book for the child. The yellow is for the older. It's college ruled. I think there's like a green and a blue. I don't know. You'll have to look, people, but just go by your child's age. Apparently, this is for children 8 and older. I would probably push that to older, and I'm going to tell you why in a few minutes. Another thing that I highly recommend are having some spelling tiles. The cheapest I found was going to Walmart and grabbing some of those bananagrams, you know, the ones that come in the little banana zipper pouches. You have to be careful because apparently some are knockoffs that you might purchase through Amazon and stuff, so it's just easier to go to Walmart or order through Walmart because you know it's the real deal. And then I went into the fishing section and I purchased some of these boxes. I think they were under $5. I want to say actually under $4. They do come with, the nice thing about them is they come with these snap locks so that, you know, if it's dropped, they're not going everywhere. The only complaint I have is there's not enough of these little blue inserts. I really wish there were, but there's not. So some of the tiles are all over the place, and you may be looking at this going, why does it go like this? Well, I have the non-vowels in here, okay? These are the consonants on this section because you get a ton of vowels. Now, I do have 2 of the bananagrams in here, 2 sets. I could actually use more if I wanted to. Oh, I do have a couple extra of these, but I think these are smaller. What? I don't know. Whatever, don't listen to me. Just, there's usually not enough, and I know when I purchased the 2, because these are wider, I had extras. That's what it was. Okay, there we go. Now my brain's working. As you can see, I have all of the vowels because you will use those the most. And then you have N, R, S, and T. If you watch Wheel of Fortune, you know those letters usually come up a lot more frequently than the rest. And I just keep these handy. We use these a lot because if I start seeing him spelling things wrong or repeat spelling things wrong when you retest the next time, I make him get these out. He's physically finding the tiles, he's physically laying them out, and it's a lot of effort and it sticks in the brain. Another option, which is very Charlotte Mason, is you could have like a small whiteboard and you have them write the word on the whiteboard. The thing is, if they write it wrong, you have to say quickly erase, and they have to quickly erase it, and you tell them how to correctly spell it so that their brain is seeing the correct spelling. Otherwise, sometimes the incorrect spelling will get stuck in their brain. Again, that could probably be a whole nother video. All right, so here we go, the program. Like I said, it can be confusing. She has the quick start. You have to read it. Here's the best way to get through it. Read just a couple paragraphs, tuck it away, maybe write a note or two, walk away, people. It is so much information that your brain will be going, what? I don't understand this. It's too confusing, and then you won't want to use it. I'm going to give you the 411 in a second, my version of how to get through this quickly. Another thing you might want are some little sticky tabs. These are great because if you have more than one student, this way you can go ahead and write their name on there, or you can use color coding for each child. There's many different color sticky tabs. These just happen to be the ones I grabbed that you can use to separate. So maybe you're doing 3 kids in here, and this way you would know Johnny, Susie, and Bobby, this is the section they are in. Now, when I purchased this, the gal had already had the binding cut off and then punched for a 3-ring binder, and this is how perfect. If you can do this, I highly recommend it, and I'm going to tell you why in another second. All right, now here is my take on this. Let's first go to the 411, and then I will give you some insight. The 411 is this. After you've read this, you really need to read it. I'm not going to spend my time talking about it. Let's just say you've tested Johnny, and Johnny comes up starting in level B. Now we're going to talk about level B, group 6. As you can see here, there is something telling you some stuff here. This information is important. Sometimes it's smaller like that, and sometimes it's kind of a repeat, so you may or may not have to explain it to the child again. But we're going to stick with the A, can be written as AY, AI, EY, EI, EIGH, EA, or the A with a consonant and then the silent letter E. Okay? This is important. The child needs to know this so they understand what group of words they're going to get. As they get a little bit better, you might just need to say, remember the A sound situation, and they might go, oh yeah. Now, I tore out one of these out of the book for you to see, and I wrote, like, today is whatever. You're doing level B, section 6. This helps you remember where you're at. And then you can either write on the board or tell the student, or you can write it in this little section here, which is great because that way they have a reference. I do not have a problem allowing the child to see something like this. The goal here is not to frustrate them and test them on everything they truly don't know. It's to see and help them remember the things they do know. You don't want to make them feel stupid. I don't know how else to say that. You will get much better education and response to the education from the child if they don't feel stupid all the time. And think about it when you were growing up. Didn't you feel kind of dumb when everybody else was getting something and you just couldn't remember or whatever? Yeah. So have it there for them. It's no big deal. So here, they don't probably remember what this means, but that's the A sound, and it says, say your name. That's telling this A to say your name. The other option is the short sound, which is ah. We don't want it saying ah here. Now, the AY and the EY are almost always at the end of a word. Very rarely would it ever be in the middle. The AI and the EI are almost always in the middle of a spelling, and these things can help them remember. And then EIGH can usually be at the end, except if it's a number, it's like 8. But it's usually like wait. It's in the center towards the end, or slay, or things like that. And then over here I have, or it could be the whatever spelling, with your consonant, like a T, and then the E at the end, the silent E. And here's another clue, folks, when you're teaching children. The silent E almost always tells that vowel to say its name, and that's why I have the fawn sound is A. That's how I help remember my son. He got it right away with that. And okay, if you don't know what the Fonz is, Fonzie from Happy Days. The silent E will say, it's like going, hey, you over there on the other side of that fence, say your name. If you put weird stuff like that seriously into how they're learning to spell, it helps them remember. Some kids don't need it, but a lot of them do. And then I would go through and say, they, as in they went to the store. The R means that it's a word that they've already had. This is just a reminder, so they would write it here. Play. This is something they've already had, so then they'd write it. They write it all out. And then you take those words that they've misspelled. Now, usually, as they get higher up in the levels, it goes a lot more than this. So I just let my son write it over on both columns, and then I will go through and check it, and then I will have him transfer any misspelled words, this would be on the other side, to here. And then they would write the word, they would say it, they would look at it, they'd say it and spell it, they would, what's that say? I can't, close and spell it, they check it, they trace and say it, they check it. With my son, because he is a teenager, I just say, please, give me some, say the word is that he missed was wait, as in I have to wait on you. Just say it, wait, wait, W-A-I-T, wait, 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 you know, just do it like that. And then down here, they leave some space for the child to write the words they've misspelled into sentences. Now with an older student like my son, I ask him to do his best to try and put as many of those misspelled words into 1 or 2 sentences. And let me tell you, I get some pretty funny sentences, and I'm okay with that. It helps them remember. So that is the basic process on how this is done. Now what I did is I came up with these little pieces of paper because I was forgetting what words that he was missing and things like that, because I always retest them. I don't know if this is a part of the plan. This is just how I do it. I always have to do things on my own a little. I go ahead and I take whatever words he misspelled the day before and I have him retest the next day. That's just me. So I made up this little thing here and then I keep track. So let's say he misspelled wait and sprain, and then I will have him put them on there. And I might have, he did the spelling tiles. Or maybe I had him do this worksheet, which is build a crossword, or this one, which is build a hidden word. Those are all things you can copy off. Over here on the English grammar inclusion, because he's older, I did something like this, like maybe if he's doing his dictation, and I'll say, see if you can find any of those words in there. Or maybe I'll find a selection of reading where I know those misspelled words are in there, and I'll have him look for them. Again, it's just another way to help them remember. I'm almost out of time on this video, by the way. I like to keep it to 15 minutes. So if I stop, I'm going to put this in a part 2. Now that said, just quickly here, that's how you move through the program. Another easy thing to do if you do have it like this is, it's very big and bulky, and I do not want to be carrying this big bulky thing every time I need to give him a spelling test. So I have a secondary folder. This is my schedule layout, and I have things in here such as the spelling power. And I have just the sections that I have him doing. He has a little bit left of the G, and then he moves right into the, the F, and then he moves into G. That way I have a little bit to carry instead of a lot. And I only need this section. I don't need the whole why we're doing this and all that kind of stuff. So if you do go this route, then you can do that. And you can do that if you have more than one student, because more than often than not, they will be in different sections, so you can just pull out those different sections. And then every time he finished one, I just move it to the end of the book so that by the time I'm done, it will be all in one piece. Those are my helpful tips. Now the 411, I've got 2 minutes. I think I can do it. Here it is. You test to see where they are. Then the day of usually you want to do it 4 or 5 times a week. The day of the test, you read the next section that they're in. You have them either write it down or you discuss the situation. You read the words, they copy them down. They take any misspelled words, go over here and do whatever they need to do. If they really need some extra help, you have them do things like the spelling tiles or writing things in foam or sand or whatever, making the words with clay, whatever works. And then when they're done, they're done. The next day, you pick it up where you left off. It's as easy as that. I think I can say I got this all in 15 minutes. Woo! But I haven't been able to talk about what you need to do prior to being able to give these kids the spelling test, or the spelling program. So look for part 2 coming up next.